The Golden Boy, Al Haymon, Richard Schaefer situation is complex, to say the least. Because if you don't understand the political landscape in boxing, as far as what fighters can't fight who for whatever reasons, or promotional reasons, or network reasons, then you're going to be lost in the sauce with a lot of the things that I'm talking about. So, we're in a generation of boxing right now where you have fighters that can't fight each other, or matches, super fights that cannot be made, not only because they don't want to fight each other, but because of contracts with their managers and or / promoters, advisors will prohibit it. But also you'll have networks who can also stop fights. Perfect examples, Peter Quillin versus Matvey Korobov. Peter Quillin ended up dropping his WBO title. You should know what happened with that situation by now. You have Danny Garcia, who is now, he has to fight Lucas Matisse next. No ifs, ands, or buts. Will that fight likely happen? No, because Lucas Matisse is promoted by Golden Boy Promotions, and Danny Garcia, Al Haymon, and Premier Boxing Champions. What else? Another situation. Sergey Kovalev, because of his contractual agreement and or whatever it is with HBO, can't fight Adonis Stevenson, who he's been ridiculing and chasing for the better part of a year now. So if you don't understand, and that's just a little tiny bit. If you don't understand the landscape of the promotional landscape in boxing, then you're going to be lost. So when I talk about the topic of this video, Golden Boy Promotions gearing up, getting ready, allegedly rumored for a major lawsuit against Al Haymon and I guess you have to say PBC as a whole. Now, understand, I relate a lot to Oscar De La Hoya without the drag and all and the cocaine. I did the drinking, I did the partying, and I allowed certain things to go on under my watch that now that I'm cleaned up and I have a clearer mind and I see what's going on, I realize the damage I done not only to myself, but to what advancements what advances I could have made and been at this point in time if I didn't allow certain things, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, to take over my mind to the point where right now I got bad anxiety, and you can see that in Oscar De La Hoya, and my memory is kind of messed up. But outside of that, you have to think with what Oscar De La Hoya was involved with, what a guy like, thank you, Al Haymon, what a guy like Al Haymon be involved with someone who is not on his game as far as business wise. Like Oscar De La Hoya was known to be partying and with females and doing whatever he was doing, while Richard Schaefer and Al Haymon were the ones that was, building Golden Boy Promotions into being what was the biggest boxing promotional company in the world just 6 months ago. So, about 6 months ago, So now you got Golden Boy Promotions, who doesn't have fighters or doesn't promote fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Iris Lara, Keith Thurman, Adrian Broner, Marcos Maidana, Robert Guerrero, and the list goes on and on and on, of a big chunk of highly profitable, marketable fighters that are no longer fighting under your banner. And now that all those fighters are gone, you're seeing them fighting on pay-per-view, you're seeing them fighting on national television, Showtime, all over the place, where you're watching all this happen with fighters that your company groomed. So you have to think. I took it personal, because I thought to myself, well, damn, Oscar was in rehab, so while he in rehab, y'all just pretty much just liquidating his company, y'all just taking over his company while he's in rehab. Because you noticed around, you know, the end of 2013 and early 2014 that Al Haymon just started signing up all these people. So I was saying to myself, doing videos like every few days on the situation, like there's something going on, you know, because you would see Al Haymon signs this person, Al Haymon signs that person, and it was getting to a point where he was signing like 7 people a week, 5 to 7 people a week, something like that. And then I noticed that Richard Schaefer's attitude, you know, in the media, watching so many different interviews and press conferences, it seems as though he was starting to get a little too comfortable, and it didn't seem to me as if he genuinely cared about what fans thought. Because if you look at what we were getting in 2014, you have to say, well, why were we getting those BS fights? One of the reasons why is because Al Haymon had his own plans, and if his fighters were going to lose, in my opinion, he wanted his fighters to lose on his own watch. To whereas when it came to those Golden Boy cards, you were getting fights like Danny Garcia versus Rod Sulka, you know, Adrian Broner versus Emmanuel Taylor. So, and I know somebody wants to say, but Emmanuel Taylor was a good fight. Yes, it was, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is you had Lucas Matisse and Matisse on the same card. You get what I'm saying? So Oscar De La Hoya was pushing for the major fights, and Haymon was pretty much blocking those major fights. So we saw it in full bloom most recently when Al Haymon basically put Oscar De La Hoya in a situation where Oscar De La Hoya was just a shell promotional company for Haymon. Haymon had all the fighters signed to those exclusive advisory agreements, to whereas in Haymon fighters would only fight who Haymon told them to fight and not Oscar. And Oscar was like, well, I can't do nothing with these fighters anyway, so just take them. Now, Golden Boy Promotions may have a lot of money, capital, but at the same time, the fighters that are established right now, Haymon has them. So Oscar De La Hoya has a young stable of up-and-coming Latino boxers, but those fighters need time to develop. So therefore, you have Golden Boy Promotions, who went from one of the biggest promotional companies in the world, if not the biggest, to now a regional-based promotional company with a lot of money, and you know they basically can't do nothing with it because you know they don't have the fighters. So looking at where a lawsuit is coming from, I can see where a lawsuit is coming from, because in a boxing standpoint, Haymon's ethics are questionable. We can't say that. But at the same time, a guy like me is in a tough situation, because I think like, well, I wonder if he's the person who told Mayweather, yeah, well, listen, tell him this. You always find a way to win. You see what I'm saying? So Haymon, if you notice, got like Jedi type powers, and I think I heard that from somewhere. I'm not trying to steal nobody's shit. I heard that from somewhere, I think. But it seems like he's got these Jedi type powers when it comes to getting fighters out of contracts, and you know, he would just literally take your fighters, you know, and then find some legal loophole where the fighters just be his. So and he just stays out of court. The closest I thought he was actually able, the closest I thought we were actually getting to seeing Al Haymon in court for something was with the Kathy Duva Adonis Stevenson thing, and then we got Hopkins versus Kovalev. So we're just going to have to see how this plays out. As the story develops, of course, I'm going to be right here covering it. I got to do shorter videos now. Be ready for Mayweather Pacquiao. Make sure my voice is right. So I'm going to get these videos uploaded. You know, get a nice 4 hours of sleep. You know, get back up, get it popping. I am T Street Controversial with RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.